I'm gonna go to every road game no matter what, like whether I'm playing or not. I'm just kind of ready for the next chapter and a new challenge in my life, but I think the
Picture this. You're the most popular player in your league's history. Fans worship you. Records fall at your feet. Yet your own teammates won't even congratulate you on the biggest achievement of your career. Your fellow players secretly vote you as the ninth best in your position, while 2.93 million fans voted you number one. Welcome to the bizarre, twisted world of professional jealousy, where success breeds enemies and the very people you're making rich are plotting your downfall. This is the story of Caitlin Clark, and it's unlike anything you've seen in professional sports. What I'm about to tell you will make you question everything you thought you knew about teamwork, sisterhood, and what happens when one person becomes too big for their own league. The evidence I'm going to show you is so damning, so undeniable, that even basketball legends are calling it out. This isn't just sports drama. This is a psychological thriller playing out on basketball courts across America. Let me start with a moment that should have been pure celebration. August 25th, 2025. Nike, the most powerful sports brand on the planet, makes an announcement that sends shockwaves through the basketball world. They're not just giving Caitlin Clark a shoe deal, they're crowning her an 8-year, $28 million contract, the most lucrative deal in women's basketball history. But here's the kicker. They're giving her something that only the gods of basketball possess, her own signature logo, that iconic interlocking CC, placing her in the same stratosphere as Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Serena Williams. This was history in the making. The entire sports world erupted in celebration. Social media exploded. Basketball fans everywhere were witnessing the birth of a new icon. Everyone was celebrating. Everyone except the people who should have been celebrating the loudest. The Indiana Fever, Caitlin's own team, the organization that directly benefits from every ticket she sells, every jersey purchased with her name on it, they said nothing. Not a coordinated post. Not a celebratory tweet. No press conference announcing their generational talent's historic achievement. While Nike was literally making her a global icon, her own team gave her the silent treatment. At first, people called it a mistake, poor communication, maybe just bad timing. But as the hours passed, that silence became deafening. It became clear that this wasn't an oversight, this was a statement. But why would a team refuse to celebrate their own superstar? The answer lies in something much darker than bad PR. It lies in the human emotion that has destroyed more careers, more relationships, and more organizations than any external threat. Jealousy. Pure, toxic, destructive jealousy. You see, Caitlin Clark didn't just enter the WNBA. She shattered it. She broke every rule about how a rookie should behave, how much attention one player should get, how the league's ecosystem was supposed to work. For decades, the WNBA operated on a philosophy of parity, where no single player was bigger than the collective. That was their survival mechanism. But Clark, she doesn't fit that system. She explodes it. The resentment started small, whispers in locker rooms, side glances during practice. But it quickly manifested in the most brutal way possible on the court. If you've watched Clark play, you've seen it. The extra shove after a made basket. The hip check when the referee isn't looking. The hard foul that seems to carry just a little more malice than necessary. You might think this is just basketball, that she's a rookie paying her dues. But the numbers tell a different, more sinister story. Here's a statistic that should make your blood run cold. Caitlin Clark, one player out of 144 in the league, has absorbed 17% of all flagrant fouls. Let me repeat that. One player is taking nearly 1/5 of the league's most dangerous, most aggressive fouls. This isn't basketball. This is targeted harassment, disguised as competition. Think about what this means. Every night, Clark steps onto the court knowing she's going to be hunted. Not just beaten, hunted. Players who have struggled for years to get recognition, who have toiled in obscurity while their arenas sat half empty, are watching this rookie get the spotlight they've always craved. And they're making her pay for it physically. Sports analyst Stephen A. Smith described it perfectly. Years of resentment from veterans who excelled without ever receiving the recognition that Clark got immediately. They feel she didn't earn it, that she skipped the line. So they're extracting payment the only way they know how, through pain. But the physical aggression was just the beginning. The real smoking gun, the undeniable proof of this league-wide conspiracy, came with the 2025 All-Star voting. This is where suspicion became fact, where whispers became screams. The fan vote was a landslide. A record-breaking 2.93 million people voted for Caitlin Clark. It wasn't even close. The message from the paying public was crystal clear. We want to see this woman on the biggest stage. But the WNBA has a two-part voting system. Fans get their say, but so do the players. And the players get to vote secretly, anonymously, without any accountability for their choices. They use that secrecy as a weapon. These same players who pack arenas because of Clark's drawing power, who are now flying on chartered planes because of the revenue she generates, who are about to see salary increases because of the TV deals her popularity is driving. They voted her as the 9th best guard in the league. Not first, not second, 9th. Basketball Hall of Famer Dick Vitale called it exactly what it was: absolutely pure jealousy. There is no statistical justification for that ranking. No basketball metric that makes sense of it. This was emotional voting, petty voting, vindictive voting. It was a coordinated effort to humble the woman who had elevated their entire sport. Think about the psychology here. These players were so blinded by resentment that they were willing to damage their own league just to take a shot at Clark. They tried to keep the WNBA's most popular player out of its own showcase event. They would rather hurt the sport than acknowledge her greatness. So, how does someone respond to this level of betrayal? How do you handle your own team's silence, your opponent's violence, your peers' sabotage? Some players would crumble. They'd lash out in interviews, create locker room drama, let the negativity poison their performance. But Caitlin Clark chose a different path. Her revenge isn't verbal, it's mathematical. It's not emotional, it's economic. And it's absolutely devastating. Her revenge is dropping 30 points in front of sold-out crowds, while players who voted against her watch from the bench. Her revenge is every merchandise drop selling out in minutes, proving that the fans are with her, not them. Her revenge is the soaring TV ratings every time Indiana plays, ratings that directly translate to money in the pockets of the very women who resent her success. She's not just beating them on the scoreboard. She's humiliating them financially. Every chartered flight they enjoy exists because of her popularity. Every new sponsorship deal flowing into the league happens because she brought mainstream attention to women's basketball. Every ESPN highlight package features her moves, her shots, her impact. The most beautiful part of this revenge story? After the public backlash over their initial silence on the Nike deal, the Indiana Fever was forced to course correct. They threw a massive celebration, turning their arena into a Caitlin Was Here event. Free t-shirts with her logo for every fan. Nike pop-ups throughout the building. They had to publicly embrace the superstar they had privately ignored. That's not celebration, that's surrender. They weren't leading the parade. They were being dragged behind it, forced to smile and applaud for the woman who now held all the power in the relationship. They didn't want to celebrate her success, so she became so massive that the entire world celebrated her, leaving them with no choice but to join in or look like complete fools. But here's what makes this story truly fascinating. Clark didn't need their approval to become a global icon. That's what terrifies them the most. The traditional power structure says players need the league, need their teams, need the established system to achieve greatness. Clark flipped that script entirely. Nike didn't ask the Fever for permission before launching her logo. They recognized that Clark now has more cultural influence than her own team, maybe even more than the league itself. She's not just an employee of the WNBA anymore. She's a partner, and she's the one with all the leverage. The jealousy from other players isn't really about money or fame. It's about this fundamental power shift. It's about the terrifying realization that she doesn't need them, but they desperately need her. Every empty arena before she arrived, every ignored highlight reel, every year of playing in obscurity, Clark changed all of that in one season. The secret ballot all-star vote was their last stand, their desperate attempt to cling to the old world order. It failed spectacularly. Instead of diminishing her, it exposed them. Instead of making her look bad, it made them look petty and vindictive. They tried to cast her as the villain and ended up playing that role themselves. But don't think this story is over. The jealousy hasn't evaporated just because it's been exposed. If anything, it's intensified. Success breeds more success, and Clark's trajectory is only pointing upward. Her signature shoe launches in 2026. Another global moment. Another spotlight that will shine directly on her achievements. The question isn't whether she'll continue to succeed. That's practically guaranteed. The question is whether the league and its players will learn to embrace the rising tide that lifts all boats, or whether they'll keep trying to sink the ship just to prove they can. Here's the twist that makes this entire story even more compelling. Every attempt to diminish Clark has made her stronger. Every silent treatment, every hard foul, every vindictive vote has turned her into a more sympathetic figure, a more compelling story, a more marketable star. Her enemies aren't just failing to stop her. They're actively helping her by creating drama and controversy that keeps her name in the headlines. The players who voted her ninth have created the perfect villain origin story, except they're the villains and she's the hero. They've handed her a narrative of overcoming adversity, of succeeding despite jealousy and sabotage. That's the kind of story that transcends sports, that creates legends, that builds billion-dollar brands. So the next time you watch a WNBA game, remember what you're really seeing. This isn't just basketball. It's a masterclass in how to turn hatred into fuel, how to convert jealousy into success, how to make your enemies profit from the very thing they're trying to destroy. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball. She's rewriting the rules of an entire sport, forcing an industry to evolve whether it wants to or not. And the most beautiful part? Every person who tried to stop her is now getting rich because of her success. That's not just revenge. That's poetry. What do you think? Is this the greatest comeback story in sports history? Or are we witnessing something even bigger? The birth of a cultural icon who transcended her sport before she was even supposed to? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that reveal the hidden truths behind the games we love.